I found out that they were waiting for me. They wanted a glimpse of light. One guy comes to me and he says, the first moment I heard you talking to this guy, I said, oh my God, the light is here. That's what he said. Even when the people were raising their voice, I would calm them down. I said, like, no, they want us to act like animals, but we're not animals. Yeah. It was the most peaceful. And the guards confirmed it, that this was the best unit in the entire Riemann Center. Because, listen, we were sitting together. We were laughing together. We were reading the Bible. We were praying together. When I said, okay, let's pray, you know what the inmates did? Some raised their hands. I didn't tell them what to do. They raised their hands in prayer. Some just bowed their heads. We're talking about hardcore criminals. Yeah. Some of them are there for bad things. Why can we have any games? Like, why there's nothing being done with us? Yeah. Every day by day, nothing. Sit, stand. Sit, eat, stand. Nothing is being done with those boys. How, as a society, we expect them to come out of jail and be better people? You know, when I met them, finally they opened when we signed a petition and they gave us few hours a day. And we could actually, for the first time, it was so weird. For the first time, I could actually sit at the table with another human being without a worry. Like, Pawlowski, go back to your cell. Yeah. Go back to your cell. Like, I'm looking at the clock. It's not working. So I didn't even know. I was out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. How do I know? Yeah. How you expect to be a better man when you come out? Change your mind. Don't talk about stupid things. Don't talk about guns. Don't talk about drugs. Don't talk about stealing and robbing. Boom. And there's no recourse. There's nothing you can do. Like I said to my wife, oh, my God, I am in the hands of the beast. You understand? And the beast is holding on to me, and there is nothing I can.
Take your time.
Yeah. They're left alone in the hands of the beast. 300 citations, over 100 court cases, and finally 2015 we win. There was 11 arrests at that time. And they left me be. And when the COVID came, I think there was a fantastic way of stripping us from the rest of our rights. Mm-hmm. I think they have found a new way to say, hey, we can do whatever we want. And unfortunately, where are the judges? Where is the protection of our rights? Where is a judge that say, hey, this is unconstitutional. I'm not going to allow this. Yeah, the politicians may go nuts, but we still have a rule of law. There is Criminal Code of Canada. As you know, they moved to our church illegally, breaking the Criminal Code of Canada. And I'm yelling and screaming, like, where are my rights? Where is the rights of Canadians? And we stand with you. Thank you for fighting for our rights. Guards, they were trying to break the comfort. So I would start feeling a little bit more comfortable, trying to figure it out, how to survive this craziness. Boom. I would find myself outside of cell in a tank. Not why? I don't know, but I was told to go, so I went. I would be lied, oh, there's a visitor, but there was no visitor. I would be taken to a tank.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. Nathaniel told us they said you had a visitor, and that's when they transferred you suddenly to Edmonton. What was that like? Was that scary? Like, you just thought you were going to visit somebody, and suddenly you're being driven away?
I know. I'll tell you what was scary. This is 51 days of never knowing when I'm going to be attacked and beaten. I don't know if you can understand being in a state of mind that you always got to watch your back because you can be attacked at any moment. I'll explain it. I was told very early on by inmates that they were offered by the guards to beat me up for free time. Free time, what that means? That means when you're in a cell and the guard has the power to get you out for another hour or another 2 hours and you're going nuts in your cell, you will do a lots of things to get that extra time. And four different individuals, inmates, came to me and they said, Art, we love you, man, and you're a priest. How can we beat you up? But I need to tell you that. A guard came to me and says, hey, we will, by accident, we will open the door of Art's cell. And if you can just show him how much we don't appreciate him, then we'll give you some incentives or give you some time off. And another guy was being transferred to the to the hospital for some treatment, and he was told by the sheriffs, and he was told, hey, while you still have one hand operating, why don't you guys beat this guy up? You're in trouble because of him. When you say that, if you have never been in prison, it will be hard for you to understand. Over there, you can die very quickly. You can be stabbed very quickly. Another inmate came and he says, two of us were offered to beat you up. And every one of them, I'm so grateful that God protected me through this whole ordeal, because they said no. One guy says, I turned to this guard and says, like, how can, like, he didn't do anything to me. He's a priest. I'm not going to beat up a priest, a clergyman. Like, wow. And, of course, they use a different kind of a language. But very early on, I was told those stories. So the inmates would come to me, says, like, just watch your back all the time. And if you're going to be released, the guards can provoke an inmate. And if he punches you, you both go to 10 days of penalty, and you won't be released. So I like a constant state of paranoia a little bit, like, where is the blow going to come from? Thank God that because was there with me, and those boys really loved me. And I prayed with them individually. I counseled them, and I went even to their cells. They asked me to pray in their cells because they were seeing stuff. They refused to do it. But imagine if I was in a different unit, let's say gang unit, I think I would be gone. I think I would be murdered in jail. And not because of the inmates, because of inciting violence, by the guards that's supposed to protect us. But I wanted to throw out there that there are some amazing guards, beautiful souls, amazing souls. One guard comes to me and says, I don't understand what they're doing to you, but we are humans too, and we feel for you. We understand, So that was very, very touching at the right moment, because it's very easy to paint them as all villains. There are monsters. No, that's not true. There's some good people in Calgary Remand Center and some amazing people in Edmonton. But coming to the story, so I had the entire unit at my prayer table. We would discuss the Bible. We had a great time. And suddenly a guard comes in and says, Art or Pawlowski, you have a visitor. And I kind of it felt weird. Sometimes you can tell someone is just lying to you. Yeah. And it felt weird, but there's nothing you can do. If you don't go, there is more trouble for you, right? So I stood up, I looked at the inmate, and he knew. He says, watch your back, because they're going to try to do something to you. I mean, it's like a horror movie. So I was taken to a mission, and at that time I knew there's no one waiting for me. Mm-hmm. They're going to do something. Either they will strip search me again, because they've done it numerous times, or they will take me through this machine, the scanner. Like, I was scanned so many times. I don't know if they damaged me or not. I mean, they were looking for contraband, like what I was smuggling. Excuse me, So anyway, sheriffs were already waiting. They gave me my clothes back, and I was transferred to Red Deer. In Red Deer, we switched the car, and I was taken to Edmonton Remand. And again, in front of other people, stripped. And this stuff has never happened to me. Like, why do you have to do this to another human being in front of other people? I mean, if an officer needs to see if you have something, yeah, I understand that. And in a body scanner can pick up anything you have on you. So why this other part? For what purpose? Or why both? And why in front of other people? I mean, you can do this in humane.
It's dehumanizing. And they haven't broken the chain of command. You've been in custody their entire time. So, yes. Yeah. So, and what were you thinking? Were you scared? Were you not sure what they were doing? Did they tell you at that point, at least, you're going to Edmonton? Or you're just in a car uncertain what's happening?
I said, what's happening to me? And then the sheriffs look at each other, and kind of like they were expecting the okay to tell me. And one guard said, nodded to tell me, so yeah, you've been transferred to Edmonton. So I know at this moment I'm going to go to Edmonton. I just don't know why, and I don't know which unit. So finally we arrived, and I got again strip search in front of other people, and they gave me an orange suit coverall, and a bag of stuff, no pillow, just your little bed thing and blanket with holes in it. And I was taken, and here is a horror movie that starts. They took me to the maximum unit that they only take you when you're bloody murder and you are a danger to the staff and to the inmates. And they locked me there. But first I entered and I said, my God, I am now in a big trouble. It was 3 stories high, no one inside. It was like a Matrix movie. The guards on the left, and they locked me in the most secure, for the most dangerous inmates ever there, on the 3rd floor, cell number 1. No TV on the entire unit, freezing cold. I mean, freezing cold. I could not sleep all night because it was so crazy cold. And I was slipped, a guard slipped a paper under the door, and I read it, and I think at that moment I reached my limit, if I may say that, because it said that I am unsafe to guards and the facility. In other words, I'm dangerous, and I'm going to stay there 15 to 45 days, locked like an animal in a cage, for no reason. I've done nothing to deserve this. We had the most peaceful unit. I prayed with the people. I calmed them down. We had no incidents, no issues whatsoever. And I was snatched from that and placed again. I just finished solitary.
Yeah.
Again in that. And I said, that's it. I'm giving up. I can't do this anymore. Will there anyone that will fight for me and come to the rescue? Because it looks like I'm done for. I'm spent.
Yeah.
It says that I might be there 15 to 45 days, but also it said that I may spend more. It's up to them. And I know a guard came with some kind of a health person, and again I said, like, why am I here? What have I done to deserve this treatment? And again, I've heard what I've heard a number of times. It's from the upper chain. It's above my paid grade. We don't know why you're here. We were told to place you here. And that's what the letter says. And actually, you had the signature of the deputy director, like the second in command in Edmonton. So that's how I spent the night, freezing, shivering, could not sleep. I asked the guard, please, I'm going to die here. I'm a healthy man. I came here healthy, but I'm going to... if I will ever come out of this place, I'll be extremely sick. And I started to feel physically sick because you're in a constant freezing environment. It was as cold as outside. And Edmonton is a lot colder, and it was snow on the ground. So he actually, thank God, he brought me a second blanket. It was not good enough, but it was better. When I was already going up the stairs and I'm going to die in this place. I'm going to freeze to death. Where I heard you're going to be transferred. But where? What? No idea. So eventually an officer comes and takes me, and Adam, you will not believe this. I could not believe that. I was transferred to the mental unit with the crazies. And when I walked in and I saw the people walking in a circle and doing crazy stuff, like in an asylum, jumping up and going down and just crawl, it's like, I'm thinking, my God, they actually locked me in an asylum. And I'm thinking, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think definitely it's a better thing than... I prefer crazy people than to be alone in my, max security, lonely outdoor prison cell, like Soviet style. So I asked the officer, I said, sir, where am I? And he says, you're in a wild, wild west. And they all started to laugh. I mean, that was funny for them, It's a funny thing. And I've seen officers laughing and they were pointing at me all the time because I guess I was the village idiot, maybe for them, because, you know, look at this guy over there with the crazies. He just stood for our rights. What a fool. He fought for the rights and freedoms, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, for the constitution of this great country. This fool stood up for the rights to protest. You know, what a crazy man. Actually, he belongs here. And they had a great time. So first day, I tried to figure it out. Okay, I am in this situation. What can I do under the circumstances? What they are going to do to me if I start praying for them? What they're going to do if I start having a Bible study? So I started with one. I just sat down and I started a conversation. I picked a crazy guy, really crazy. So that didn't go very well. And then I sat at another table, and behold, there are actually some people over there that are there for all kinds of different reasons. For example, drugs. Lots of guys like to be in that unit because it has the biggest amount and the easiest access to drugs. Mm-hmm. I've seen people dealing drugs. I've seen people snorting the drugs. I was offered drugs freely. I could become a drug addict, no problem. And that's throughout. Every single day, actually multiple times a day, I could receive drugs. Drugs that, of course, I'm not an expert on drugs, so I had to educate myself. Drugs that are equivalent to cocaine, opioids, all kinds of fentanyl. Fentanyl. You can have fentanyl, a different name for it. And some are happy campers, believe it or not. And the business is flourishing because you can buy $5, $10 a pill, no problem. And so I sat with the guy, and actually he sounded quite sane. And I started with him. I said, okay, one is not totally crazy. So I can start here. And then I started with another, and then another, and another. By the time I was transferred, a few days later, I had 5 people at my Bible studies. I prayed with multiple inmates. And believe it or not, inmates were starting to come to me for blessings and just talk to me. And they were waiting for me to come out of my cell. So again, in the words of the inmates here, one guy, actually few of them, but one that really touched me, I wanted to cry. He says, Art, we need you here. I know you want to go home, but I was praying that God would keep you here for a few more days, just for us. And that's why it was so emotional for me, because I understood that a life without hope, and anyone that actually directing you to hope, is hell. That's actually what it is. A life without hope is hell. So five inmates, I was able to pray. A chaplain came to visit me. Actually, the same chaplain that visited Coates came to visit me. A good man. We prayed together. I connected him with my boys, so when I'm out, he can continue ministering to those kids. Watching TV was very interesting because there are 2 TVs over there, and there's actually TV room. So good thing out of all this craziness was that this unit had the most outside time in the entire prison. Right. So I could go out and interact and watch a movie. But here is the catch. Because of some people's states, when you watch a movie, you watch 10 minutes, and then he would stand up and change the channel to another movie. Then you watch another 10 minutes, he would stand up and change to another. So during 1 hour, you would watch 3-4 movies, 10 minutes each portion. At first it was kind of annoying, and then I just started laughing. It was kind of like a funny thing to watch this guy jump. And if he's laying there and watching, and he jumps, boom, he runs to the remote, changes the challenge. Okay, a different movie. So that's how it was going. My inmate was a guy that murdered his brother with a machete. So first I asked him, what are you here for? And he says, well, I murdered my brother. I said, oh my God, protect me. And then I said, how? He said, well, with the machete, and then a total schizophrenic. And he would come with all kind of crazy things. But you know what? A few days later, he was sitting on my table listening to the Bible. And I asked him after, I says, how that works for you? Like, I mean, do you like it? And he says, yeah, I really like this. I like those conversations. And and I prayed for him. I said, can I pray for you? Can I lay my hands on you and pray? And he says, I would really like that. And when I was being transferred, and again, don't ask me why, because nothing makes sense. Why they would wake me up 4 a.m, only so I would spend 5 hours on concrete later. It's beyond me. I don't understand why, but that's how it is. But when I was leaving the cell, he wished me like he like a nice guy, like a friend that appreciated my efforts to impact his life. Nothing makes sense. For example, we are in isolation units, but when they were transferring us to the tank, including today, we all transferred together and we're sitting in a tank together. I mean, in the unit, you're separated because of COVID and the potential spread, but then in the tank is all okay. We can all sit together. We can all walk together, talk and hug each other. And, that's okay. That's perfect. Virus understands. Yeah. But then we got to go back to the solitary because we might be attacked and we might attack others with a deadly virus. So those are the things that I have been observing every single day. Right. Nothing makes sense except abuse of power, control, and my question is why? Yeah. How can we expect those people come out of the system and not reoffend? Yeah. Can we expect them to be normal in a society when the only thing they get is a stick? Right. You keep beating the dog. Don't complain that he keeps biting you.
And so just to confirm, at this point, because you were basically moved to Edmonton right around the time of the good news on Friday on the successful appeal of bail. So at this point, had you received that news at least on the bail success for the first 2 charges, the Coots charges?
So this was the weird thing. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever to move me except what I was told by a guard that they're just messing with you. I guess we didn't break you enough. I guess we didn't mess with your life enough. I guess we didn't mess with your family life enough. So the hammer came only to mess with my head, to break me. And that's what I was hearing throughout this ordeal from the inmates and from the friendly guards. Be careful. That's how this whole system works. They will break you. They will abuse you. They will make your life hell. So you would only plead. The whole system is to plead. Yeah. Plead. It didn't matter. It does not matter if you did it or you didn't. You're in the beast system. Plead so you can be off the hook and you can go back to your family. If you don't, we'll mess with you even more and you will never know where or when the punch is going to come from, either from inmates or from the guards. And I think through this whole thing, that was the scariest part. Yeah. Because you look at the uniform, at least I did some time ago, I have a hard time to look the same way at the uniform today. And you expect a higher standard. You expect those are the good guys. Yeah. They will uphold the law. For sure, they're not going to punch me in the face illegally. For sure, they're not going to break the law.
Let's just jump forward to when you finally heard. Were you back in Calgary when you finally heard that you would be getting out this week? And what was your reaction? What was going through your head when you heard you might actually be able to be going home to your family?
Well, I think you would expect me to say I was very happy and I was jumping with joy. Actually, no, I was still afraid because I was told by the inmates that I might be punched and that might be an inmate that they will convince to attack me. And it doesn't matter who is the villain. It doesn't matter if I walk and someone jumps me, I'm still in solitary and I'm still punished for 10 days. So they told me, be careful, because now that's what they're going to try to do something to you. If they want to keep you here, that's what might happen. So I was extra careful about how careful you can be. Right. You're in a cell, there's no camera. I mean, in Edmonton, everywhere I went, inside the cell, at the max pod originally, and then in a crazy unit, there is camera inside. So I was a little bit at ease because at least there is a recording, and I've heard of stories when they said the cameras were not working. Yeah.
Well, and it's so sad to see that you even have to think that way when you're just trying to follow the rules. Normally in a healthy system, you're going to be released in a couple of days. Oh, good. I'm going to be released in a couple of days. But it's sad to see that it's so narrow and so binding, and that you have to be paranoid and neurotic because of the things going on there. And I just wanted to kind of get into, now that you are released, still massive legal fights ahead of you. You're not entirely free, but you do get to carry on in some of your role as pastor. You do get to preach. Otherwise, you're largely under house arrest. But can you talk about the sort of plan moving forward now that you are out, you are with your family, both in terms of the legal battle and how you're going to continue within the terms of your bail to serve as a pastor?
Well, for sure, I will continue exposing the corruption. I mean, I think that's my role, to fight, to fight for those people. I mean, they have no one to fight for. For whatever reason, and I understand the society, they're the bad guys and they deserve that. They deserve to be in prison. So I understand that aspect. And for sure, some do deserve to be in prison. But for sure, they don't deserve the Soviet-style treatment, the Chinese, North Korea-style treatment. No human deserve that. Being in prison behind the four walls is enough punishment, in my opinion. And the guards and the system should not add their own little punishment on top of the court's punishment already. So I want to expose that. I want to fight for those boys. They cried, when finally they came to pick me up. I asked, because I don't know. You never know. You never know. I asked, why you're taking me? Or you're being released. So that's where I know that's probably I will not see them for a while, those boys there. So I hugged them and they cried. And they cried because a little bit of light in their monotony of horror, a monotony of darkness, abuse of power has been, released, is going away. And I told them, you be the light now. Yeah. You just take over. Daniel, I called him my little deacon. I said, you be the pastor Art now. I mean, it's up to you to tell them that there is hope, that there's God that loves them no matter what. So I want to still do what I have been doing. Of course, I am still in prison. So don't kid yourself. I'm still a prisoner, a political prisoner. And why? Because there is one law for me and there is one law for Jason Kenney. The same rules do not apply to all Canadians. The politicians can break the mandates and regulations, and it's perfectly okay. That's okay. Sky Palace party and a restaurant party, that's perfectly okay. But if Artur Pawlowski is doing that, then we have to make sure he's being punished to the fullest of the law. And plus, of course, my back hurts like crazy and my bum hurts like crazy. You know why? Because I spent probably as much time on concrete than on the bench. Because that's what they were doing. Every time people were protesting, I would be taken to the tank, concrete. And I would be taken to the tank just because. I would be taken to the tank or to a hard place, just whatever, right? So I'll try to recoup my strength and keep plowing along. And of course, I'm a pastor, so I am allowed once a week to go to have my church service. So Saturday, I will be in a church doing what I have been doing for 30 years. I'll give people hope. And the rest, I can't do much. I cannot leave. For example, I can't go outside. I can't take my kids to a movie theater because for 2 years, we were not allowed to go to a restaurant. For 2 years, we were not allowed to go to a movie. And when they hugged me today, they said, Dad, there is a new Spider-Man. Well, we can't watch it. Sorry, we have to wait until we can watch it on TV because, your daddy is still a political prisoner of conscience. And I'm still, I guess, the enemy of the state. And why? People have to ask themselves why. What happened to our Canada? What happened to our beloved nation? How low we have fallen.
There was action inside, but you were aware hundreds of people were gathering outside, showing solidarity for you. Finally, let's just wrap up. Do you have any messages for those people who were following your story, who were concerned for you, and are certainly happy to see that you're home now today?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you, Here's what I've heard. I've heard of 15,000 people downtown cheering Free Pastor Art. And when I heard about that, my heart melted and I had tears. And I said, I'm not abundant. I'm not alone. There's some people that get it.
Yeah.
There's some people that understand that I didn't do that just because. I did it for them, for the freedom of all. So I want to thank you so much, the people that came to the protest outside of Riemann. Thank you so much for standing with me and my family. I'll tell you, not just you were there for me, but every inmate that have seen you or heard you would come to me after. And this is what they would say, and with tears, crying. They said, thank you. Tell them, thank you so much, because that gave us hope. I'll tell you of one man that came to me, tattooed all over. I mean, he was a scary looking fellow. I don't even remember what he did. But you know what he said to me when he saw the people outside cheering up? And of course, the people inside were cheering as well with the people outside. Free Pastor Art. And the guards would say, sit down, sit down. He says, no, Free Pastor Art, Free Pastor Art. Of course, I was locked. I was not allowed to see that, but I could hear it. Free Pastor Art. And this guy comes to me and he says, you know, when I saw that, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It restored my humanity. And that was not just one person. Another would come the next day and says, you know, like, I've never seen something like this before. Those people love you. This is amazing. When I get out, I'm joining your church. Another person would come and says, like, this is what family looks like. This is family. So I want to tell you, all of those people, you were not just touching me. You were touching countless lives of the inmates, but not just the inmates. You were touching the hearts of the guards because they were coming to me.
We're doing massive marches down 17th Avenue. We too like to march. James Coffey departed Vancouver on February 10th from the Terry Fox statue. He's completed over 1,000 kilometers already of a journey. He's on his way to Ottawa, 4,900 and something kilometer trek. And like I talked about, you know, that even just a handful of people protesting at the remand makes a difference. All it takes is one person to make a difference, like James Topp. He's inspiring thousands of people now across the country. So please welcome to the stage, James Topp.
It's good to see you all here. I'm happy to be here in Calgary. This is a day off for us. We're taking a day to rest our feet as we traverse this great nation. To clarify, I left Vancouver from BC Place, the Terry Fox Memorial, February the 20th. We're 42 days on the road with occasional days off here and there. We're going to be kicking off tomorrow from the intersection of Highway 23 and Highway 2. We're going to try to get to Coaldale tomorrow, a distance of 40 kilometers. And I plan to be in Ottawa by the end of June. So just to back up a little bit, who am I and what am I doing? In case you don't know who I am, because a lot of folks don't really know who I am and why I'm doing this. My name is James Topp. I'm a soldier, I'm a citizen, I'm a Canadian. Right? I have been personally affected by government overreach that resulted in my loss of employment, so I've been placed on leave without pay from a public service where I was employed by the RCMP as a civilian worker. Not long after that, I got notified that I am to be released from the Canadian Reserve Forces that I transferred to in 2019. I'm to be released on Item 5F. So this isn't a favorable release for somebody who's tried to keep his nose clean for 20 years in the armed forces. I'm not really happy about it, so I'm going to complain. Okay? What inspired me to do this? I got inspired by a group of folks who went to Ottawa to make their voices heard, and I was also inspired by how they took a stand and traveled there, and I would have liked to have joined them there, except I can't fly. So I found another way to get there. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm going there to protest. I'm going there to speak on behalf of those who also lost their jobs, lost their employment. I'm going there to speak on behalf of those who have been injured. I'm going there to speak on behalf of those who got their arms twisted behind their back under this negative construct or false construct of choice and consequences, and have to accept the procedure they wouldn't otherwise have so they could keep their jobs. And I'm going to talk to certain people about that. So how am I going to do that, you may be asking? Allow me to read a short letter that I am writing to each and every member of Parliament. To the honourable member, you are invited to join myself, Canadian Armed Forces veteran James Topp, and a group of your peers on the 22nd of June or thereabouts from midday at a central Ottawa venue for a public discourse. This public discourse is being assembled to resolve how best to repair and unite Canadians after 2+ years of mandates. After being placed on leave without pay from my civilian position and currently in the process of being released from the Canadian Armed Forces, I am marching 4,293 kilometers on foot from the Terry Fox statue in Vancouver to the tomb of the unknown soldier in Ottawa as an expression of peaceful protest. This one month will take approximately 130 days in CD in Ottawa mid to late June. My protest exists for the 3 reasons. I am protesting federal government mandates that require, as a condition for employment or continued employment, vaccination, testing, quarantine, and/or isolation. I have stepped forward to speak on behalf of those personnel employed by the federal government or otherwise who have been denied access to employment and services, who have lost income and have suffered damaged relationships due to the imposition of a medical procedure. I have also stepped forward to speak on behalf of those who have been through the introduction of false constructs around choice and consequences, have been pressured into taking part in medical procedures they would not otherwise have accepted. Your participation is needed and appreciated as we assemble to debate and resolve a fair way forward for Canadians. This is the letter that is being mailed out to 338 members of Parliament and 105 senators. Personally signed by myself, and just to speak a little bit about these letters, signed and sealed to be delivered. There's only 200 here. So I want you to look at this tub of letters, and I want you to think about what 10,000 of those are going to look like sitting in an MP's office, because they're going to be from you. So you go to parliamentmarches.ca, and there's a template there that you can use to write your own letter. You ask your member of Parliament to come and talk to me when I get to Ottawa, because I'm not just going there to have a tantrum and wave my arms around. I'm going there to do something and have a conversation. And you all are going to help me, right? Hey, that's what we do it. And that's the start of it. Because I've also talked to Larry McNichol, Dr. Larry McNichol from TPOF. And they're going to get the same folks who were there in January to have more conversation, to get those people's voices heard, because they've been silenced, censored, shunned, and cast out. And it's their turn. So I just want to call attention to a couple of things. I'm not doing this in isolation. That's a play on words. I have folks with me. Come on up. Let's go, Murphy. You too, Christian. So they're walking with me, or they're driving the bus, or they're preparing meals, or they're going forward to tell me what's coming up down the road. So this is how we're doing it. You found a way, and you can do it too. All you need to do is convince people around you to ask themselves what they can do and stop focusing on what they can't do. So I just want to apologize for elbowing my way to the front of the line, to the speaking line up here. I got things to do down in Lethbridge because we got to get ready to march tomorrow for 40 kilometers. So we're going to be going to Coaldale from the intersection of Highway 23 and Highway 3, and then we're going to continue onward towards Medicine Hat. That's what we're doing tomorrow, so we got to make our way back down tomorrow. Sure, just a second. And then we're going to make our way to Medicine Hat, and I suspect we'll probably be there in about a week. So my son would like to say a couple words.
Hello to all you Picanis and Senate. You know I love you. And you know what? The tribe is telling you to keep it going. And we love you. I lived in Calgary for a long time. And you know, when I heard this now, it's not going to be. It's so strong to be a woman, especially a native. You know, I talk strong from my heart. You know, I love all of you. You know, I wish I had a flag.
Give her a flag!
Thank you, my friend. So we're gonna take the stage. We're gonna take off now. Sorry, and we're gonna get going back out of that bridge. Thank you all for your support, your encouragement. I just want to tell you, as a Canadian Armed Forces Service member, I just want to tell you that I work for you. Have a good day.
James, I've had a few people ask how they can give donations. Is there any way to give you donations today? Okay, Dr. Lana is going to help with that. She's our next speaker anyways. Here we go. Welcome, Dr. Lana.
Okay, wow, the money is flowing. You guys are amazing. Our Canadians amazing! Alright, so hello, Calgary! I'm Dr. Lana. I actually live in Edmonton. Don't hold it against me, no? And I'm really thankful to be here today. Okay, so I'm a chiropractor. I'm also a personal trainer. I'm a very proud Canadian. How many of you guys have tattoos on your backs with a leaf? I sure do. I happen to have volleyball because I was actually inducted into the Canadian Hall of Fame for volleyball from Bangor University. So I'm not saying that to impress you. It's more to share with you how proud I am to be Canadian. And I felt over the last couple years that I lost some of that. Yeah, holy, I cried a lot because the Canada I know felt like it was falling. And families ripped apart, and neighbors ripped apart, and colleagues, and there was bullying and stuff, and I'm like, this is not what Canadians do. Canadian spirit is known all over the world for our love, our neighborly generosity, the things that we do to show up for one another when we need each other. And we've needed each other more than ever in the last 2 years. So, I'm urging everyone, I don't speak to the choir here because I just encourage everyone to stand in love and compassion and unity right now. You may be mad, you may be frustrated. My own brother is talking to me and hasn't. And I have 4 young kids, 2 of which are here. They're in the back. They attend all the rallies with me. And I know how painful this has been for many people. But I urge you to keep loving compassion in your heart. People are waking up. They're coming to the front lines, right? And we have to show these really weirdo, narcissistic psychopaths that think they can shove their agenda down our throats. Okay, we have to show them and make up for what they lack. And what they lack is empathy. And what they lack is unity. They're the ones that are small, fringe, ridiculous minority. We're the way, we're the love. And, I just want to share my great honor that yesterday I drove all the way down to Edmonton with my 2 children to march with James. I feel very honored to have, my legs and my feet hurt today. You guys, it's not a walk to the store. He is marching to Ottawa for us. He's marching. My 9-year-old and my 11-year-old marched with him in formation. I have never marched in formation in 2x2 with some pace. Never done that. And it was humbling because I am sore today, you guys. And it was amazing to me to really take that in. Now, we got to end our evening. It was April Fool's Day yesterday. We had our conspiracy theory tinfoil hat Fool's Day dance in Monarch, Alberta. Right? Okay, we're the ones that are considered the fools. But here's the deal. There's no conspiracy theorists. There is a conspiracy, damn right. We've gotten everything right. It's no longer a theory, we know that, right? But when I woke up this morning, I was like, what's my message this morning? And here it is. Yesterday was April Fool's Day. It's the one day of the year, 365, that we laugh and we're like, oh, it's so funny to be fooled and tricked and all the things. Here's the deal. 364 of the rest of the days, we are being fooled. Fooled! We have a medical system that has stolen your power, that tells you that health comes from a vial or a syringe or a bottle, and it does not. Take your health back. Parents, take your children's health back. You know more about your parents' health or your children's health than any doctor, okay? You know more about your body. You've been with you the longest. Start trusting your amazing innate intelligence in your body. Take your power back. Eat well. Nutrition, right? Exercise. Go try a march. Get off the couch, right? Be in nature. Hug. Reduce your stress. Be around people. All the stuff that they've told us in the last 2 years is the complete opposite. And if they ask you to do it again, the answer is no. No is a complete sentence. Doesn't need an explanation. No is enough. Remember that. Because I also want to bring your attention, I'm going to get back to the Fool's Day thing in a moment, okay? Is that our emergency health orders in Alberta are not lifted. I would like you to know that because Albertans are getting complacent. We don't have a mask and we can go do things and it's awesome and I love that, you guys. I want you to have joy and I want you to have fun. But don't you dare be fooled. Because I contacted Poppy's office, okay, and I asked them point blank, is the emergency order lifted? And I'm telling you it is not. We are in stage 3 of the lifting. And let me tell you, I don't think they have any intention of lifting it. So, exactly, we are in an abusive pattern with our municipal, our provincial and federal governments. We're just in the I'm not getting hit phase. You don't thank us for not hitting you. Okay? So, make sure all your friends and people, I saw pictures of Calgary rallies and my jaw nose on the floor. The amount of people don't get complicit. This is far from over, guys. So get your people back here and make sure they know that this is not over, and our emergency orders will not be lifted until Hitchcock says they are lifted. Did you know that? How scary is that? They're violating our political process of emergency orders as well. So in addition to not being fooled, okay, I'm going to finish this up. We're being fooled in our education systems. You think you're learning how to critically think? You're learning how to sit down and listen to authority and obey. That's what we're learning, indoctrinated with what they want us to know, and what they want us to hear, and what they want us to do. Take it back. Okay? You gotta take it back. Media. Oh my gosh. Could they be any more disgusting?
Why is everyone
that's the truth? I know you guys don't.
So am I.
But most people think it's the truth. And it's the farthest thing from. It's disgusting. Right? So we're being fooled. Yeah, turn the TV off. Right? So it's another way we're being fooled for 364 days in April Fool's Day. No more being fooled. No more. Right? And no more being abused. I was in an abusive relationship many years ago. It was one of the worst experiences of my life, and I have no doubt it was why I was able to see the red flags early. Maybe some of you can relate. I saw them early. Anyone who tries to coerce you, harass you, bribe you, control you, bully you, stop it. Get out. Say no. Stand up for yourself. And we all have to do this together. The way we're going to do this is together. And I just want to say, marching with James yesterday was so incredible to me. I felt like another convoy was happening, but it's not good. And that's so inspiring, you guys. So I want to encourage everybody to unite together. You know, we all have our freedom groups, the things we're working on, they're all important. And I want to thank everybody for what you're doing. Thank you, Brian, for your, amazing volunteering here. Right, and all the other people that make this happen. Yeah, the Lethbridge crew, you're always amazing. We had the Lethbridge crew last night that threw on the amazing barn dance last night. I was down in Coos for a couple weekends, and then last night they dropped the flag that was signed by all the people in Coos. It was so overwhelming. But we need to do this together, okay? So get to CanadaMarches.ca. There's actually a live GPS. You can see exactly where James is on the website, okay? Also, please go to tbof.ca. Okay, we're going to do weekly updates on our Tuesday night 7 p.m. Canada Connect calls with Danny Balford, Brian Dennison, myself, the other TUF crew, as he, showing his journey across the country to Ottawa, and many other great initiatives, including many right here in Alberta. So thank you for letting me speak today, Calgary. Love you.
Artur.